Dad, he's one of our own. He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Reece James, he's one of our own.
Really understand.
Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Josef's Chelsea Blues. Hope you guys are all doing well. I have a collab promised, and here he is, Charlie from Chelsea Fan TV. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, always a pleasure. I mean, I will just clear it up. You were a bit confused with the intro, weren't you? Because it wasn't like this when you last came on here, wasn't it?
No, well, the screen just went a bit blank, so I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah, because I've if you haven't noticed already, I actually changed the name of the channel. I've more put it towards more Chelsea. So when you actually shouted my channel out, I remember on stream one time, it was usually World of Football, but now I've moved it to more Chelsea content because I thought World of Football was a bit too broad and it was a bit too much. So yeah.
No, all good, mate. Good stuff.
Yeah, so this video is going to be a little bit of a review of Chelsea's Club World Cup campaign. Now, we will leave a little bit of time at the end for the final because that was the main, I'd say, shock point for a lot of people, even us Chelsea fans. But we will talk about a lot of the other games in general, starting off with, obviously, the group games as we go through them. First game we had was Chelsea 2, LAFC 0. I mean, actually, before we get into that, you were actually at the Club World Cup final. I mean, what was that experience like?
Yeah, amazing. Bit of a last-minute decision, but yeah, well worth it. Yeah, brilliant, really. Good to experience football in a different country. Good to experience sort of different culture surrounding sport. Stadium's great. Brilliant game between two top sides. And yeah, one of the best performances we've had probably in general since we won the Champions League under Tuchel. We were unbelievable. So, you know, it was an amazing experience, well worth doing. Yeah, and something that I definitely won't forget.
I mean, yeah, it was a great game to choose as well. The Chelsea 3, PSG 0. But yeah, we will get onto that more later. Let's just get into Chelsea 2, LAFC 0. I mean, we were going into this Club World Cup thinking that we weren't going to win it. So we looked at, obviously, all of our group games and thought, well, we should win all of these. But it didn't obviously turn out that way. But starting off with an easy 2-0 win against LAFC, like, what do you sort of remember from that game?
Not much, really, because it was pretty poor. I think, like, with most tournament football, like, I'm not really that fussed about the group stage. Just get through, and then the real stuff really starts in the knockout rounds. The LAFC weren't great at all. The stadium was virtually empty. I think it was like a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Monday or Tuesday afternoon in America. Not many fans there. Yeah, we got the job done. You know, I think the one takeaway from that was probably the Jackson assist for the Neto goal was very good, and Delap was a bit of a handful when he came on. Other than that, not really too much to say about that game. Just got the job done, and yeah, got off to a winning start, really.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. I remember Pedro Neto scoring a very good goal that game as well, and Liam Delap also getting the assist for Enzo Fernandez at the end as well. So yeah, it was a very, very good performance from Liam Delap that game. I remember when he came on, and yeah, just before I go to the next game, which is probably a lot more interesting for Flamengo, we all remember that. But yeah, about Liam Delap. Like, did you think that he was going to be like let's say, this good. Obviously, we haven't seen that much of him, but we've seen what he does in Ipswich, and I'm pretty sure he scored around 12 goals last season for them. And what do you reckon he'll bring to this Chelsea side? And do you think he'll be better than Jackson has, or do you think he'll be sort of similar with him?
No, I think that it was a no-brainer signing really for that £30 million release clause. Look, he's going to bring something different. He'll offer a different dimension. He's physical. He's got that presence in the box, and he's more of a natural finisher and a natural striker than Jackson is. And it just gives you a different option up there. It allows you to play in a different way, which whether you want to do that from the start or whether you want to do that from the bench is a really valuable option. It's really important to have different profiles of striker within your squad so that you can then obviously use either one when the opposition dictates it or the scenario dictates it, or you've got an opportunity to use both in the same game potentially as well. So look, I think Delap's a smart signing. I think he's going to bring a different dimension to the attack. He's going to offer something different, and he's going to hopefully bring a decent amount of goals with him as well. So yeah, I think along with João Pedro, along with Jackson, if he ends up staying, which I think he probably will, you've got three good options at number 9 and three different options and three players who all bring something very different to that role.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we will talk about João Pedro later. Oof. I will say that signing, I was not confident on it. Like, genuinely, like when I first saw it, like that Chelsea were linked to João Pedro, I was like, oh, another Brighton player. But then I thought, he's actually an okay player. But then, yeah, we'll get to his debut in a sec, where I'd say his debut double against Fluminense, which was amazing. But yeah, we will get onto that later. Yeah, Chelsea 2, LAFC 0, not really much that I remember, mainly about Delap, and Delap being actually okay when he came on, and Enzo Fernandez scoring that goal to seal it. But the next game, Flamengo 3, Chelsea 1. I mean, nothing really positive about this one, was there?
No, it didn't go particularly well. We were under pressure pretty much from minute one. We know those Brazilian sides are pretty good, and in general, the Brazilian sides had a very good tournament. And you could tell they were a bit sharper. You could tell they were. I don't want to say they were obviously a bit fresh. I don't know if they're fitter than us or not, but ultimately, yeah, they obviously took advantage of our mistakes, and we did obviously get a goal against the run of play through Neto. It's a bit fortunate, but you make your own luck sometimes. But yeah, really, from that second half onwards, it was a pretty poor showing. Really bad marking from set pieces for two of the goals. I actually think, if I remember right, I think all 3 goals were pretty poor defensive mistakes, whether it was from set pieces or general play. Obviously, with the Jackson red card, which ultimately didn't actually make any difference. Obviously, it was inexcusable and can't defend it. But ultimately, with 10 or 11, we weren't going to win that game. And the funny thing is, that game kind of, in a strange way, worked out in our favor and is probably part of the reason why we ended up making the final and going on to win it. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have made the final if we'd won and been in the other half of the draw. You never know. But losing that game in the long run actually turned out to be more beneficial than winning it, probably.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, well, technically, we lost to Flamengo, but then I remember Benfica beat Bayern, I think it was. And then that actually made Bayern go. It was a result in there which I think made it that we faced Benfica. Yeah, Benfica beat Bayern, which made Bayern.
Their group, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd have to face Benfica and then Bayern face Flamengo. So yeah, looking back on that loss now, I'm like, I'm not really thanking Flamengo, but in some sort of a way I am, because we face an easier opponent. I mean, if we face Bayern Munich now, you'd probably think that we'd beat them, but I wasn't sure at that time, because obviously Bayern Munich, like Vincent Kompany as manager, I mean, you know what? that was a weird appointment, I'll be honest. Like when Vincent Company went to Bayern, it was always that bit. I always thought Bayern were a great team. Like they have Elise, Kane, I think they still have Kingsley Coman, and like they have a really good team in there. But it's just always Vincent Company that I thought, really? Like, has he warranted that appointment, do you think?
No, look, obviously when at the time he wasn't anywhere near the top of the list, but he's done a good job there. He's building a good, young, exciting team. And yeah, look, I would have fancied us to get a result against them, but there's no doubt about it. It would have been a lot more difficult if we'd faced them, and then obviously, you know, a Real Madrid or whatever. So yeah, look, you know, you take what you can. You know, you get lucky in tournaments sometimes, but then you've got to make the most of that luck you get given.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. I mean, yeah, for the Flamengo loss, all I really remember is, yeah, that Jackson red card and really poor defending. And that Jackson red card actually made me lose all faith in him. Like, genuinely, since that game, I've been advocating for him to be sort of sold because I just couldn't have any trust him. I just couldn't trust him. Like, it's not the first time he's done this as well. He did this against Newcastle very stupidly as well. That one, elbow, but still, he shouldn't really be doing that, should he?
No, of course, you know, and players make mistakes and players get things wrong all the time. But I don't think people should be making a judgment on a player because of 2 red cards. You know, that's, for me, that's a bit of a narrow-minded view. It's a bit of a, you know, it's very short-sighted, you know, and it overlooks a lot of what Jackson is actually good at and what he actually brings to this team. You know, before Christmas, when he got 9 goals in the league and he was playing really well and he was scoring and he was looking really good, people couldn't stop praising him. You know, he dropped off around Christmas time like the whole team did. And then when he was injured on that deadline day game against West Ham, you know, for the 2 months that he was missing, you can tell how big a difference it was when he plays compared to when he didn't play. So for me, look, if he wants to go, then that's a different conversation. But Chelsea's squad is much better with him in it than with him not in it, in my opinion. I just think judging someone based on 2 red cards is a bit short-sighted and doesn't really encapsulate the whole picture.
Yeah, I get your point there, and like maybe I think I'm being a bit too harsh on him, but I just like to have players that I can trust, and like Jackson, I wouldn't say you know what? I'd happily have him in my squad, but just not as a starting striker, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, Jackson was never signed to be the number 1 striker. Like that should never have happened in the first place when he come in a couple of years ago. And he shouldn't have been put in that position, but he's got 34 GA across 2 seasons. And for someone who should be a rotation striker, that's not bad. But the problem comes is because he's been the first choice striker and people expect more, when in reality, he should never have been that first choice striker. So if he stays this summer and he's a rotation choice, might be first choice sometimes, other times he won't be, then I think people's opinion on him might change a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you know what? You've actually changed my mind there. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, keep Jackson in the squad. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't even mind him as a third option. Even like we've seen that he can play on the left wing pretty well as well. So that would actually be an interesting option to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like something I've mentioned quite a lot previously. Just what it would be like if you had Jackson coming in off the left with a Delap down the middle or with a Joao Pedro down the middle. I mean, it's not something Enzo Maresca's tried. I don't get the feeling he wants to try. I don't get the feeling he sees Jackson on that left-hand side at all. But yeah, look, it's something that I wouldn't mind seeing, but I don't think it is going to be something we see.
Yeah, completely agree with that, if I'm being honest. Yeah, next one, I don't think we really need to talk about it much. ES Tunis 0, Chelsea 3 to Tosin, Liam Delap and Tyreek George getting on the score sheet. I mean, it's just confirming our place really in the knockout stages, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. We knew we were going to win that game. It was just a case of make some rotation, give some players some rest. and just get the job done without any injuries or anything like that. These games are never particularly exciting. There's never too much to shout home about. You just get the job done and you move on.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
now the next game,
goal, which was quite nice, but other than that, I mean, Andre Santos played. George scored at the end, but yeah, no, it was pretty routine and not really an awful lot to take home from that.
Yeah, you agree with that. Now the next game is where it gets a bit mad. Benfica 1, Chelsea 4. What happened in that game? Because I was literally live streaming that. I think that's now the longest live stream on this channel for me. 5 hours, by the way. I should never have been live for that long. It's mad. Like that weather warning, like to be fair, I had an American Chelsea fan on my live stream, and his YouTube channel is called Blue Clouds Media, by the way. Everyone check it out. It's a great YouTube channel. Like, oh my word, like he was actually explaining how the weather is actually pretty bad there and they take thunderstorms really seriously. But I don't know. Like, what's your thoughts on that about like the whole weather thing that happened there?
I think if you're gonna have big competitions in the US, you cannot hold it in a place where you run the risk of having to have 2 or 3 hour delays because of the weather. That's not going to run. That's not going to run at the World Cup. And it's just not right moving forward. It just ruins the spectacle for everyone. You know, it essentially ends up becoming 2 separate games. So I've got no problem with football being held in the US. No issue at all. But maybe it's a good idea not to hold it in cities where there's going to be a high chance of having 2-3 hour delays during a game because of the weather. You know, you can't have that in the World Cup. You simply can't. So that's got to be one of the big things they've learned from this summer, is that if you are going to play on the West Coast, then maybe play in arenas that have got a roof on it so that the weather doesn't matter. But if you're going to play it in a normal stadium with no roof, then you just can't do that. And you need to look at holding the games in a different part of the States. Simple as that for me.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, other than that, like, to be fair, like, I remember the first half, like, we were actually, like, I wouldn't say it was boring, but I'd say Chelsea was sort of dominating it, if I can remember. And then, obviously, we get that, we get to half-time, and then second half, Reece James, beautiful free kick. And then, obviously, that weather delay that happens at the 85th minute. But then that Gusto handball, like, you know what? I'm going to ask you the question because we had a debate on my live stream about this. Do you think that was a handball by Gusto?
No, of course it wasn't. No, where's he supposed to put his arm? He's jumping. It's in a natural position. Well, look, we're very hard done by there. Very hard done by. But just in general, like it was basically that match ended up being 2 different games. You know, the first leg, as it were. You know, I thought we played really well. You know, we had an excellent first half. We created a lot of opportunities. Trubin in goal made a number of top saves. There was a clearance off the line from Antonio Silva from Cucurella. We created a number of opportunities. We played well. We defended well. Second half as well, we were decent. We were solid. We get the goal through Reece James. Yeah, okay, Benfica started to come back into the game a little bit more, but we held out strong. We defended really well. We were solid. We didn't look like they were going to break us down at all. We looked like we were just going to see that game out 1-0. You get to 5 minutes left. There's then a 2-hour delay. And then that just becomes a totally different game for the last 5 minutes. As you say, you know, we get the penalty against us, which is unfortunate. But what was really impressive is how we didn't let our heads get down. And we then just turned up and took them apart in extra time. I think a Chelsea of maybe earlier in the season or certainly last season, heads would have dropped and we would have lost that game in extra time. So I think we deserve huge credit for that. You know, 3 goals in extra time, and that was I think that was a really big moment in the tournament, really, and a big moment for this group as well.
Yeah, definitely, especially with one of the goal scorers as well, and Nkunku. I couldn't believe it when he scored. I was like, "What?" Like genuinely, like we all thought that he was going to leave, but now he's scored this goal. Like you know what I think Chelsea have done here? I think they've purposely put Nkunku on the trip. And if something like that happens, that's to boost his value, and then they're going to sell him on.
Well, it works both ways. Ultimately, Nkunku was part of the squad. He obviously played a lot more than any of us expected him to play. He played reasonably well compared to the standards that we've seen from him throughout the season. And look, it does one of two things. Chelsea are happy to keep him, but they can only offer him a squad role. If he wants that, and we sort of play next season how we've played throughout that tournament, then Nkunku can be a useful squad player. However, I get the feeling that with it being a World Cup year, with him wanting to get in the French squad, he needs to play on a regular basis. And that's just not going to happen at Chelsea.
Yeah, completely.
So I still think he'll go, because I don't think he'll accept a squad role.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got João Pedro in, we've got Gittins in, obviously. Like, we didn't get Mohamed Kudus. He decided to go to Tottenham instead. Like, who do you think will get in to replace him? You know what? Even if Jackson leaves, do you think we'll replace him as well?
Look, because obviously Madueke is gone. If Nkunku goes as well, then Nkunku and Felix are probably both going to go. Madueke is gone. I think one more attacker could come in. You got to remember as well that Giovanni Quenda's coming next summer, so you don't want to make sort of a needless signing. But I still look at it and look. We don't need a direct replacement. We don't need a direct replacement for Madueke on the right hand side. I still feel we're a little bit short on the left. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing someone like a Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig, someone that can play on the left hand side, but can also play centrally and can also play a bit deeper in central midfield if necessary. I think we would potentially look at someone who's more of a left wing number 10 hybrid style player. So someone like a Simons, or look, Morgan Rogers would obviously be Chelsea's preferred target. I just think that deal is going to be very, very difficult to do, not to mention very, very expensive as well. But again, never say never. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea at least made an approach to see what the situation is. But I would be shocked if he ended up being a Chelsea player. So, yeah, for me, we need a bit more on that left-hand side than just Gittins. So that would be where I'd be looking to add maybe another attacker if we're going to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been linked. Yeah, you mentioned two of them there, Xavi Simons and Morgan Rogers. I also saw a couple of days ago, I think it was, that Chelsea talked to Eberechi Eze's, agent. Yeah, they talked to Eze's agent as well. Out of those three, who would be your preferred target to go for?
Look, I'd love to get Morgan Rogers, but to be honest, I think the easier deal is Xavi Simons, and I think Xavi Simons would give us something different. You know, he's very creative. He's a great dribbler. He's got really good work rate, both offensively and defensively. He puts up good numbers, goal scoring, assists. He wouldn't cost you an absolute fortune compared to a Morgan Rogers. Eze is going to cost you 68 million quid with a release clause. Yes, you can pay it in 3 installments and whatnot, but there's not really been any concrete links of Chelsea and Eze. I mean, Eze's 27 now, not old, by the way, but from the Chelsea perspective and the Chelsea way of doing things, that's right at the top end of sort of the age that they would recruit at. So for me, I would like to see Xavi Simons if we can do it. And I think we can do it. It just depends if we want to.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like, obviously with Morgan Rogers, we know there's a link that him and Cole Palmer are best mates, apparently. And I would actually see how that link up would be pretty great at Chelsea, I think. And yeah, definitely I agree that Xavi Simons would be the more easy deal to do, because there's been links that Fabrizio has said, I think we'd only have to pay around 50 to 60 million around there for him. So yeah, I think Xavi Simons would be probably the best and easiest target to go for. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Benfica 1, Chelsea 4. Obviously, we had Pedro Neto scoring and Keenan Dewsbury Hall scoring at the end as well. So yeah, that was a mad game to watch, that one. Next one we get to is Palmeiras 1, Chelsea 2. Now, what do you remember about this game, Charlie? Because all I remember is that Esteval scored against us, really.
Yeah, Esteval scored against us. This was a tough game. Obviously, Reece James pulled out in the warm-up. Andre Santos came in and replaced him in midfield. We obviously had no Moises Caicedo for this one. And yeah, look, tough game against a well-organised side, against a decent side. I remember we took the lead through Cole Palmer. Really nice goal. Chalobah plays the ball into him. Great touch, and it's a standard finish from Palmer into that corner. Then after that point, we didn't really take advantage of the opportunities that we had. Palmeiras get back in the game. Brilliant goal from Esteval. You could maybe argue Robert Sanchez might do a bit better, although that could be a little bit harsh. And then we dig deep. We keep going into the end, and Malo Gusto pops up sort of 9-10 minutes from the end. We get a bit of a lucky strike, a double deflection, and it goes in, but they all count, and we see it out. And that was again another good performance. We were again a different type of game, physical game, but another one that we came through strongly.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. We took the lead through Cole Palmer's 16th minute. Remember that goal very well. Esteval scoring in the second half, near the start actually, 53rd minute, and then I remember our winner Gusto took a shot, and then it was just deflected in. And you know what? Gusto has received a lot of criticism from us Chelsea fans, definitely. I remember I went to watch the Conference League final in then I don't know if you've heard of it, but do you know Vauxhall Food and Beer? Like there's like a bar there.
No, not heard of it. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went there. Me and Doobs were actually there. Shout out Doobs, actually. He's a very good content creator. Make sure you check him out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. I did a short with him, and he asked, who do you think has been the worst Chelsea player this season? I say Gusto. But I think he's more been like a victim of Maresca's system, because under Pochettino, he was great because the system suited him, because we know he's just a right back that loves going up and down. Maresca doesn't like his fullbacks to do that. He likes his fullbacks to invert. So, and we've seen that Gusto has tried to invert, but he can't really. So, yeah, that's why I said Gusto is the worst player this season. I mean, what do you think of that?
Obviously, the inverting doesn't play to Gusto's strengths. I think that's very obvious. We can all see that, and that's definitely had a big impact on his performances this season. However, on the occasions where he has played as an overlapping fullback, he's played very well. With the Club World Cup final, a prime example, he was brilliant in that game. He was overlapping. He was a constant threat in the final third, and it really played to his strengths. So I hope Maresca sees that and looks at it, and going forward next season, we don't see this Gusto inverting thing. We see him playing as that overlapping fullback because he offers a lot in the final third. He's creative. He'll get assists. He'll get forward. He'll cause problems. And he's got that work rate to get back as well. And defensively, he needs to improve a little bit, but he's still pretty sound defensively. So as long as when we play to Gusto's strengths, he plays well. It really isn't a surprise. So hopefully we continue to do that next season.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. Next game is the semi-final. Fluminense 0, Chelsea 2. I mean, the main bit of this game, well, what we thought was the main bit for this game before it was the Thiago Silva reunion. I mean, it was great to see him again, wasn't it?
Of course. I don't think after he left that we'd be sort of playing him again a year later. But it's always great to see him. Quite special to play against him in a semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember there was a video or a picture, I think, and then I think it was one of the members of the Chelsea staff after the game. They gave Thiago Silva his own Chelsea shirt for this season. I thought it was a very nice touch, that. And during the game, the main thing was Mr. João Pedro. What a performance he had, by the way. I mean, yeah, definitely. I was doing a live stream for this game as well. Yeah, João Pedro, mate.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I think it was a it was a big show of faith from Maresca to give him the nod in that semi-final ahead of Nicholas Jackson, with obviously Liam Delap suspended. And he took full advantage of it. He was absolutely outstanding. 2 brilliant goals. That first one curled into the far corner from outside the box. Brilliant strike. And the second one in off the underside of the bar, just as good. And, he showed what he's all about. And he looks like he's going to be a really exciting player for us. He isn't really an out-and-out number 9. If you had to pin him down to one position, he's probably a 9.5. He's probably somewhere between a 9 and a 10. But I think Chelsea will use him as a 9. They'll also use him as a 10, and they'll use him as an option out wide as well. But yeah, this was all about him in this game. And yeah, he was really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you said there about João Pedro's 2 goals. I mean, the first one, brilliant to curl it in that far corner. And then the second one, like, when have we ever seen, like, we have seen it before, but when was the last time we saw a striker just shoot just like that? It's been a while, hasn't it? Like, for Chelsea, I'd say. Like, it's been a while since we've seen a striker do that.
Yeah, no, we don't tend to have too many players that will have a shot from outside the box. So, yeah, look, it's something welcome. Also, at the same time, though, he doesn't tend to score much outside the box either. I think he only scored 1 goal outside the box for Brighton, so it's not exactly something he's renowned for either.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was just a brilliant performance from him. And then we get to the Club World Cup final. Now, before we do, I'm just going to change the background because it's needed. With Chelsea lifting the trophy. I think it's fitting. And then we get to the final, obviously. Chelsea 3, PSG 0. We've left the last bit of the video to talk about this final, especially because there's quite a few talking points here. We start the game off pretty well, I'd say. We in possession, and we're creating a lot of chances. I remember Cole Palmer had a shot, and I thought it went straight in the top corner, but it turns out it hit I don't know what you call it. It hit that thing at the back of the goal. I don't know what you call them, but just a stand for the goal. Yeah, I thought that went top corner straight in, but no, it didn't. But then Cole Palmer shoots again. Low-driven shot, right in the bottom corner. And, yeah, Chelsea go 1-0 up with that amazing finish. I remember Gusto did very well. Gusto did very, very well. And, he nicks the ball to Cole Palmer for him to have that shot. But we don't end there. Cole Palmer does the exact same goal again 8 minutes later. No, not the exact same goal with the build-up, but the exact same finish. Low-driven shot in the bottom corner. And all the rival fans are thinking, what's going on here? Cole Palmer's not really turned up in this tournament, apart from the Palmeiras game. But yeah, I mean, Cole Palmer this tournament, I mean, you could say he's been pretty quiet for the most of it, but he really turned up at the end for us, didn't he?
Yeah, look, and the top players will always turn up in the big games. And he's the reason why we won the Conference League final, and he's the reason why we won this final as well. He got 2 assists in that Conference League final, which turned the game on its head. He gets 2 goals and an assist in this Club World Cup final, wins player of the tournament, wins man of the match. Ultimate big game player. And look, all players go through dips in form. All players go through challenging moments, but the best ones will always rise back to the top. And that's exactly what he did. He was outstanding. And he's just a top player. But I just think in general, from minute 1, we were better than PSG. From the first minute to the last minute, we were absolutely on it. Everyone to a man was outstanding. We saw Reece James selected in midfield to begin with. I think a lot of Chelsea fans were a little bit unsure about that. That worked out very well for us. Gusto overlapping was great. Palmer was brilliant. Enzo and Caicedo superb in the middle of the park. Reece James was great. Cucurella and Gusto, the centre-backs, were good as well. Even, Robert Sanchez played really well as well. Everyone to a man did their job and was brilliant. And, yeah, this was probably the best Chelsea performance we've seen since that 2021 Champions League final. It was the best performance under Maresca, and it's the most complete performance we've had in a long, long time. And we did something that no one else has been able to do this year. And we beat not only beat PSG, we convincingly beat them, and we absolutely tore them apart.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And then it's not just Cole Palmer who got on the score sheet as well. Like this is the mad thing. João Pedro turns up in the final as well and chips Donnarumma. To chip Donnarumma, like we all know how good of a keeper Donnarumma is. And I know Chelsea fans probably don't think of him as highly now after that whole scrap thing happened after the game. But I wouldn't say some people are angry about that now. But yeah, I mean, do you reckon, like, obviously Sanchez actually had a great performance that game as well. Like, do you still reckon we need to sell Sanchez?
Look, he played well in this cup in a Club World Cup final, no doubt about it. But again, we've got to not let one game or a small run of games cloud our judgment here. I'm still of the opinion that if you want to be serious and you want to win the Premier League, you want to win the Champions League, you want to be challenging for those major trophies, you're not going to do that with Robert Sanchez. Yeah, he's going to have good games. Yes, he's a good shot stopper. Yes, he'll have good moments. But ultimately, the mistakes that he makes are not only frequent, they're very costly, and they don't look like they're going to leave his game. So for me, as well as he's done in this competition, as well as he did in the final, if we're going to progress forward as a team, you need a top goalkeeper. And he's not on the level of a Courtois or a Donnarumma or an Edison, for example, or an Alisson, even David Raya, you know. You look at the top teams around the world, top teams in the Premier League, top teams in Europe, they've all got brilliant goalkeepers, and Robert Sanchez is nowhere near the level of any of those.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if we were to put Robert Sanchez as the number 2 or to sell him, obviously we've got rid of Petrovic now, but which goalkeeper do you reckon that Chelsea need to be competing for those major trophies?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? The goalkeeping market is not particularly good. I mean, maybe you go back and you try and test Milan's result for Maignan, although a lot of reports are suggesting that we're not going to go back in and that one's kind of done. You know, maybe you look at a Diogo Costa from Porto, someone that's been mentioned in the past. Again, he's got that sort of, he's had those links and he's got a release clause in his contract. I forget how much it is now, but there's not really been too much about him recently. There's I think there's a goalkeeper at Lille called Chevalier who's done really well in Liga. He would be a good signing as well. But yeah, the goalkeeping market's difficult. It is difficult. So I don't know if we're even going to go for a new goalkeeper. I'm not really sure who we'd end up going for either.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. I mean, there was another talking point of the game, and it was the red card. Now, João Neves got sent off for pulling Cucurella's hair. Now, I'm not going to lie, a lot of the rival fans don't really like Cucurella now because of this, because like a lot of people are victims of this. Like, you just pull his hair and yeah, like you get sent off. People think it's an unfair advantage. I mean, what do you think of the rival fans' opinions on that? Because then I just say, just don't pull his hair then. Like,
yeah, look, ultimately, like, it's foul play. Like, you shouldn't be pulling someone's hair on the football pitch. It's very, very simple. I mean, that's literally it. If you're going to pull someone's hair, then expect to get sent off. You're just not going to get away with that.
Yeah, completely agree. Like, I've just got all these rival fans saying, "Oh, it's an unfair advantage. He's got long hair. Like, go bald. I just don't pull it." Like, that's all it is. And then, yeah, the full-time whistle blows. And, yeah, Chelsea are Club World Cup champions. And all the rival fans are just like, we wasted our time. We wasted our time hate watching Chelsea all this time. And, yeah, Chelsea complete the set perfectly now with the Club World Cup now. We completed the European set with the Conference League. And we've also done it now with the Club World Cup. And there's this really interesting fact that I've seen that Enzo Fernandez is the only player to have won a World Cup with club and country. How mad is that?
Yeah, obviously, Club World Cup winner and World Cup winner. So yeah, it's a pretty exclusive club to be simultaneously holding both those trophies. So yeah, no, fair play to him.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. And yeah, like the final thing I wanted to mention before we round this one out is obviously Chelsea are now Club World Cup champions. People are going to look at us now and think, you've got to do this in the Premier League now. You've got to do this in the Champions League now. You've got to try and go for all of the trophies next season. If I'm being honest, I completely agree with all those fans. Not necessarily win all of them, but at least get really far in, let's say, go for the title. Definitely. Go far in the Champions League. Go as far as you can. Try and win a domestic cup, either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. Do you completely agree with that?
Yeah, of course. You know, at Chelsea, the expectation is to go as far as you possibly can in every single competition. The expectation is to win every competition you're in. Now, you're not going to always hit those expectations, but you got to go as far as you can. And I think next season we need to see an improvement in the league. Let's see if we can, get more points. Let's see if we can finish higher up the table. Let's see if we can maybe challenge for the title. I'm not saying we will, but we got to try and let's see what we can do. I think we need to win a domestic cup. We haven't won one of those since 2018. So whether it's a League Cup or an FA Cup, we need to be looking at doing that. And then Champions League, you just never know. It's the first time we've been in it for a couple of years, but it's knockout football, it's tournament football. It seems to be something that we deal better with than, say, the week in, week out stuff in the Premier League. So yeah, look, let's just get as far as we can. Yes, we want to try and win every competition we're in. And let's see if we can get a trophy next season and challenge for the league. As long as we're making progress year on year, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, completely agree. And I'd say, I'm going to say now, what are your predictions before we round this one out of transfers that we get in? Like, let's say ins or outs. And then where do you reckon with those transfers that you say, where we will finish next season and how far do you think we'll get in all those competitions?
Look, again, you just don't know the transfer market. I think we will sign sort of a left back. Let's say we'll sign Jarell Hato. I don't think we'll sign a goalkeeper. I honestly think we get two players at most. We'll bring another attacker in and we'll bring in a left back. But yeah, it'll be one or two. So let's go Jarell Hato and let's say Xavi Simons, for example. I think those will probably be the only two transfers we do, unless we have any major outgoings which need replacing. But I don't personally see that. Outgoings is just the usual. I think we know who's going to go. Pretty much, you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 players that will probably be moved on, whether it's permanently or on loan. We don't know yet. I think next season we've got the ability to finish third for sure. And then in terms of the cup competitions, I'd like to think we can win one of the domestic cups, and then Champions League. I think the quarterfinals, draw dependent, would be a successful run in that competition as well.
Definitely. I mean, I completely agree with third in the Premier League. That's what I've got in my mind at the moment for my predictions. That video will be coming out soon. Make sure you're tuned in for that. There's also, the domestic cups. Yeah, I'd say we win one of them. And then the Champions League, most of the time when we're in the Champions League, like we get, I'd say, pretty far. So yeah, quarterfinals and semi-finals, yeah, definitely possible for me. And yeah, with the transfers, yeah, I think we'll get Jarell Hato in, and yeah, Xavi Simons is looking very likely now with the links that we are seeing. So I think either him or Morgan Rogers will get in. Obviously, we hope that the Garnacho thing doesn't, it doesn't come to fruition, because we're still hearing stuff about him. So I just hope it doesn't happen. But yeah, finally, about Garnacho, it's an obvious no, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, look, for me, yeah, it's I wouldn't like to see it happen. But, the links are still there. The links haven't really gone away all summer. Let's wait and see. I do feel that if Chelsea wanted to do it, you would have done it already by now. But maybe it's dependent on someone else going the other way. I don't really know. But look, obviously, any player that comes in, I'll fully support. And, the directors and the scouts have earned trust. But I just have a lot of personal doubts over this move and kind of hope that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, definitely completely agree with that. Right, we're going to round out there. Thank you very much for joining me, Charlie. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, mate. No problem.
Yeah, mate, his channel is right there. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to him. How many subs you on, mate, at the moment?
I think like 17,500. So we're nearly at 20. We're nearly at 20k.
Let's get him to 20k. It's a great channel up there. Definitely. Matchday vlogs. You did a great matchday vlog for the Club World Cup final. I watched it.
Yeah,
it was great.
I haven't done that many vlogs recently, but I thought I'd bring it back for the final.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, make sure you go subscribe to him. And yeah, make sure you smash the like, subscribe, turn on notifications on so you don't miss any great upcoming content. Make sure you follow the socials on TikTok, Instagram, and X. Joseph Chelsea Blues on all. #Road to 400. Let's go and do it. Up the Chelsea.